Ever been trapped in, like, a digital nightmare? Imagine trying to log into this supposedly revolutionary project management app, Clarity Flow 360.
Oh boy.
Yeah, 12-character password, upper lowercase, some symbol you can't find, then a QR code dance with your phone, and your childhood best friend's favorite ice cream flavor? Seriously.
All that just to get started. Wow.
Exactly. All before you even see a single task. So today, we're diving deep into the whole Clarity Flow 360 mess.
Yeah, it's quite the case study.
We've got the story on what went wrong, the project management mistakes behind it, and the lessons you can actually use to keep your projects from, well, becoming a tech obstacle course.
That login story really sets the scene, doesn't it? A solution that immediately creates friction.
Totally.
So for this deep dive, yeah, we're digging into that Clarity Flow 360 case to see exactly where the wheels came off. Our mission really is to pull out those key project management ideas that got, well, ignored,
Okay.
and see how using them might have changed everything. Think of it as a quick guide to dodging project disasters.
Dodging disasters. I like that. Okay, so let's meet Matteo. He was the digital transformation lead, super enthusiastic, ready to launch Clarity Flow 360.
Right, the champion.
He thought this was it, the answer to all their problems. The app promised everything, real-time updates, seamless team integration, these, like, dynamic task trees.
All the bells and whistles.
Exactly, and dashboards meant to motivate everyone. Plus, Matteo promised a painless one-hour onboarding.
Uh-oh. Famous last words in tech rollouts, sometimes.
You can practically hear the ominous music starting around.
Absolutely. And what jumps out immediately is just the massive gap between that shiny vision and what users actually faced.
Yeah.
That login process you mentioned, prime example. So many barriers right at the very beginning. Complex passwords, MFA. If you don't implement that stuff carefully, you just push people away instantly.
You really felt like the app was designed to keep people out, and if by some miracle you got in, chaos. A dashboard full of stuff you didn't ask for.
Like what?
Like a company-wide birthday calendar right next to your urgent project tasks. Key metrics showing up in Swahili for an English-speaking team. And core features like task overview, just saying, coming soon.
Oh, wow. Coming soon on a launched product.
Yeah, it's like buying a new phone where the call button is grayed out.
That dashboard mess really screams a lack of focus on the actual end-user needs, doesn't it?
Totally.
It sounds like maybe they were just stuffing features in without thinking, is this actually useful? Does it work? And the bugs? Well, that points to not enough testing. Way insufficient testing before launch.
And the effect on actually getting work done. Immediate. Deadlines slipping because nothing synced right. Notifications pinging at 3 a.m.
Oh, no.
Yeah, one poor junior analyst apparently got 79 notifications in 1 hour. None of them relevant. It sounds funny, but it completely wrecked their workflow.
79. That's insane. It stops being a tool and starts being a hindrance at that point.
And you know it's bad when the help desk updates the FAQ with Q. Q. How do I log in to Clarity Flow 360? Close your laptop and consider taking up a new hobby.
Okay, that's actually pretty funny. But yeah, it says a lot, doesn't it? The support team is drowning. The app's fundamentally broken.
Exactly. It's a symptom.
And morale dropping so low that people are putting up joke posters. That break room poster about Matteo as a knight with a shield saying beta testing, optional. That's not just grumbling, that's serious user revolt.
So Matteo tries damage control. He calls a town hall. Attendance apparently boosted by donuts.
Ah, the donut strategy.
The case study calls them sprinkles and passive aggression donuts. Gives you a feel for the mood, right? His talk, The Future's Flowing, was apparently mostly blurry stock photos.
Not actual solutions, though.
Nope. Then the live demo, projector fails, app crashes, hard. You could apparently see Matteo just deflate. And then someone asks, straight up, if uninstalling the app is part of the training. Ouch.
Wow. Yeah, that whole sequence just highlights how unprepared they were and the huge disconnect between Matteo's pitch and the reality.
Right.
Technical failures in a live demo. That destroys any tiny bit of trust that might have been left. And that uninstallation question just perfectly sums up the user frustration.
Sure.
Brutal.
His other attempts, a support group, desperate emails, just met with silence.
Yeah.
In the end, Clarity Flow 360 wasn't even officially killed off. It just vanished.
Yeah,
Buried.
just faded away from non-use. And looking at this with a project management hat on, you can see some really big misses, critical failures.
Okay, let's break those down.
Well, first up, the case study points to stakeholder engagement, or rather, the lack of it. Matteo apparently skipped the needs assessment and didn't do a proper stakeholder analysis.
So he never really asked the users what they needed.
Pretty much. And that's the core thing, isn't it? If you ignore your end users right from the start, you're almost guaranteed to build something that doesn't solve their actual problems. It's like designing a kitchen without asking the person who cooks in it what they need.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine rolling out a tool people are supposed to use every day without asking them, hey, what drives you crazy now? What would actually make your job easier? You're guessing badly.
And this ties straight into risk management, another big miss. The case study says there was no risk register.
Meaning they didn't think about what could go wrong.
It seems like it. They overlooked really obvious stuff like users getting mad about a complex login, or people just not using the tool because it was clunky, or even basic things like would it work with their current computers. A risk register is where you proactively list out potential problems, things that could sink your project, and you figure out, okay, if this happens, what's our plan? How do we lessen the impact?
Right.
If they'd thought about the risk of a terrible user experience, maybe they would have tested it more, gotten feedback before launching it to everyone.
It's not about being negative. It's just being realistic, prepared.
Exactly, being prepared. And another area they dropped the ball was communication management. Seems there was no communication management plan.
Okay, and how did that show up?
Well, think about it. The training was bad, leading to confusion. The rollout announcements probably didn't hit the right notes or address fears. And the support. Clearly overwhelmed and unhelpful, like that FAQ showed.
Yeah, true.
Good, clear communication is like the bloodstream of a project, especially when you're changing how people work.
Makes sense.
A solid communication management plan maps it all out. Who needs what info, when they get it, how you share it, and crucially, how you listen to feedback and respond.
Which they clearly didn't do well here.
Right. If they'd had proactive communication, better training, real support channels, it could have smoothed things over, maybe even caught some of those big usability problems earlier.
And it sounds like the list of basic project management misses just keeps going.
It does. No feasibility study did ClarityFlow 360 even work with their existing tech. No proper requirements documentation.
So no clear list of what users actually needed the app to do.
Seems that way. No pilot testing with a small group first. No formal QA sign-off. Which explains all the bugs and the awful user experience.
And no plan for actually helping people adjust to this new thing.
Exactly. No organizational readiness assessment or change management plan. All these gaps point to one big underlying issue. They were focused on the shiny tech, not the people or the process.
Okay, so lots of mistakes. But the case study also mentioned something about agile, how that might have helped.
Yes, that's a really valuable point. It suggests an agile pilot loop launching iteratively, getting feedback constantly could have prevented the whole disaster.
So instead of dropping the whole thing on everyone at once.
Right. That was their big bang launch. Flawed app, entire company, boom. Agile would be different. You'd launch maybe a basic version to a small select group.
Okay.
Get their feedback, what works, what doesn't, what's confusing. Then you fix it, improve it based on that real use, and then you gradually roll it out wider.
Like test screenings for a movie.
Exactly like that. It lets you catch and fix major problems early when the impact is small, instead of having a massive public failure.
It really boils down to a simple truth, doesn't it? Tech is only as good as the humans using it.
That's the core message. You can have the fanciest software ever created, but if your team hates it or can't figure it out or it actively makes their job harder, it's worthless.
You can't just automate buy-in. Ignoring how people feel about the tool is a recipe for failure.
Precisely. And it's a reminder that even with cool, innovative tools, you still need those fundamental project management practices. Good planning, user focus. A shiny app doesn't replace that.
It is good to hear, though, that Matteo apparently learned from this whole thing. The case study says he now insists on pilot phases, uses user surveys, and always has a plan B.
Yeah, that's encouraging. It shows that failure, while painful, can be a powerful teacher. You learn, you adapt, hopefully you develop some humility too. And the mindset shift they mention is vital. Project management isn't just about shipping a product. It's about smoothing the path for your team, making sure they're supported. It means thinking ahead about problems and designing the whole experience, not just the software features.
Testing the user experience, not just the code.
Exactly. Testing their feelings about it even.
So the big takeaway from the ClarityFlow 360 story is really crystal clear. You absolutely need those core PM principles. Understand your stakeholders, manage your risks, communicate effectively. These aren't nice-to-haves. They're fundamental for success, especially with tech, but really for any project.
Which leads us nicely into a challenge for you, our listeners. Imagine you're leading the rollout of a new analytics tool. It's powerful, but definitely complex. You need to get it adopted across 3 different departments in your company.
Okay, so think about this. First, how are you going to genuinely understand and confirm what each of those departments actually needs from this tool? What are their current skills, their pain points?
Second, what will your communication plan look like? How will you keep everyone in the loop, trained, and feeling like they have support?
Third, what are the big risks you see? User pushback, data problems, systems not talking to each other. And more importantly, how will you plan to deal with those risks proactively?
And finally, how will you know if it's actually working? What does success look like beyond just getting the software installed? What metrics will you track?
These are the kinds of questions you need to ask before you launch, because as Clarity Flow 360 showed us,
Fancy doesn't always mean functional. And ignoring the human side, well, that's almost always a path to project failure.
and speaking of understanding that human side, join us next time on the deep dive. We're going to get really practical about stakeholder analysis, how to go beyond just listing names and actually figure out what people need, expect, and worry about.
It's a crucial skill. Really understanding your stakeholders can be the difference between success and, well, another Clarity Flow 360. You won't want to miss it.